Holy shit.
We're not
I love
talking
Dua
about
Lipa.
Dua Lipa. Welcome back to Prime Cut
God.
Slices. I'm one of your hosts, Greg, and today we're talking about the boss. No, I'm not talking about that guy that doesn't approve your PTO and micromanages you. I'm talking about Denim Jacket, Bruce Springsteen. New trailer just dropped. Joe, thoughts?
A lot of thoughts. It stars Jeremy Allen White. Okay, so let's talk about him for a second. He's big right now. He's big. The Bear.
Why is he big?
Well, because the Bear is like a phenomenon, TV phenomenon. I don't know if you've heard of the Bear, Greg. Mark, have you heard of the Bear?
I love the Bear. I would say he's like TV big, because he was in Shameless before this.
Yeah,
and
but he hadn't done much since Shameless, and then he did the Bear. It was kind of like a surprise hit of a show. It's about a high-end chef coming back to his home in Chicago to take over his family's Italian beef sandwich restaurant, and ends up turning it into like a gourmet restaurant. And that's kind of the trials and tribulations of that. He's won, I think, multiple Emmys for this at this point. I think he's won 2 Emmys. He's very hot right now. Been thrown about in casting rumors, potential Wolverine casting. I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but he's definitely been linked. He's one of those guys. He was in Iron Claw. It's like, I think that this happens a lot in both film and television. It's like when someone hits something big, it's like all of a sudden he's linked to everything. Kind of like Pedro Pascal, right? He kind of a scene stealing guy in Game of Thrones, and then all of a sudden he's now in everything. He's linked to everything. Jeremy Allen White is kind of on that trajectory where he's like a little bit of an unknown guy, does a great job with the Bear, and then all of a sudden it's like he's playing Bruce Springsteen. He might be Wolverine. He was in Iron Claw. Like he's kind of like lining stuff up. So this is complicated.
I got a question.
This is complicated.
I got a question.
Okay.
So we're doing a biopic on Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
And these seem to be the trend right now. And they feel like 2 things. One, they feel like it's just an excuse to play the music that people love in a movie. 2, it's a musical.
Yeah, and I also think, I don't know about the musical part. I think your first point is definitely right. I also think it's becoming something where it's like, this is an opportunity for an actor to really like shine as like, I'm really digging into this role, right? I think the first one we've seen in the last couple of years, obviously Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix. I believe he was Oscar nominated. Reese Witherspoon won an Oscar as June Carter Cash. That was in like 2006, I think. Kind of had some time off, but then we did the Freddie Mercury one, the Queen biopic, where Rami Malek won an Oscar. It's pretty good, I guess.
Mr. Teeth.
Mr. Teeth. Elton John, Rocket Man. Didn't really like that one.
Don't forget Elvis.
Elvis, of course.
The most recent one that kind of flopped bad. Better Man. Robbie Williams, I think that's what his name is.
Apparently that was huge in
the
Europe.
UK one.
Yeah, where he's played by a monkey.
Hard here.
It did not do well here. Complete Unknown, Bob Dylan
one as well.
Timothy Chalamet was nominated for an Oscar, was a front runner for a long time, and I liked that movie. I'm not a huge Dylan guy, but it was pretty good. What else? I think there's an Amy Winehouse biopic coming. So like, I kind of think we got too many of these. I don't know that we need any more.
Who's next?
Well, here's the problem, guys, for me. This is my guy. This is my number one guy. Number one. Yes. Number one, like.
This makes much more sense now.
Yeah, this is my guy. So, like, I am very conflicted here because Jeremy Allen White does not look like him at all. He has blue eyes, so they're making his eyes brown because he doesn't look like Springsteen. He's kind of like the same build and height. And I got to say, when the trailer starts, he talks like Jeremy Allen White. I was like, this is the guy from The Bear saying stuff about like, yeah, I don't know who I am. And I was a little bit like, oh, all right. Is this what we're doing? Like, we're just being ourselves here? This is kind of a big role.
Do you think that imitation is like the biggest form of flattery on this? Or like, do you want him to play his own version of Springsteen.
Well, that's the problem, Mark. And I think the problem is we have so much footage of these musicians singing, talking, being interviewed, being on stage that it's like, I know, and this is, like I said, I know a lot about this guy. So I know so the time period this movie takes place during the time when he's writing Nebraska, which is his kind of a departure record. It's not with the E Street Band. This came out in 1979, I think. I got to look that up. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, he went to recorded this album. It's all acoustic. I think it's an incredible album. It's widely thought of as one of the best singer-songwriter albums of all time. This movie is looking at that period of his career. But I will say this, they did show a scene of him playing Born to Run at the end of the trailer. And I was like, oh, that's Springsteen. He moves like him. He sounds like him. And apparently, and I was kind of frantically looking stuff up because I was like, I don't know. Apparently, that is Jeremy Allen White singing. And I thought they 100% dubbed that over because I'm like, that is Bruce Springsteen singing Born to Run. Apparently, it is not. And I could not tell the difference. So that's encouraging.
Pleased.
Yeah.
This pleased you.
But there are parts when he's delivering dialogue where I'm like, that's the dude from Shameless just talking in his Shameless, his normal Jeremy Allen White voice. I don't know.
He's got a very Chicago way about him.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but don't fuck it up.
This will hurt you. You're going to go see this opening night, I assume, right?
100%. Yeah. This is my dude.
First one.
If this is
in the seat.
If there was hey, you can only listen to one artist for the remainder of your life.
Wow.
I wouldn't not even blinking. That's Bruce Springsteen.
You're on the 8 Mile and you're like, please play Bruce.
What's the 8 Mile?
You're going to Electric Chair.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Put on Bruce.
Put him on. And this album's incredible. He's talking, he's speaking to me, guys. I want you to understand this.
A little schizophrenic here. He sounds like your version of my Vin Diesel.
Could be.
That's right.
Could be.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know that I would go around comparing the two people, but yeah.
Vin Diesel, I'm sure he'll be in a biopic soon.
Kind of a little different.
Tomato.
He'll be in a biopic soon.
Is there a band or a musician that you think we haven't seen a biopic that you would be like, ooh, I'm into this?
They just did the Led Zeppelin one on Netflix. Did you see that?
It's with actors.
It's
a documentary.
Yeah, it's like a documentary.
Yeah, documentary's fine. I'm not talking about docs. I love a documentary. I'm talking about a dramatized version.
Yeah, if I was going to see one, I would want Ozzy when he left Black Sabbath, when he was at his peak of drug use,
Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah,
Randy Rhoads.
Right before, Randy Rhoads era.
Shit, that'd be cool.
We could have a biopic on that, because that's the crazy stuff that a lot of people don't know about. That's where you get the crazy stories where he was on tour with Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And it was just full on chaos. That would be a great biopic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of who I haven't seen that I'd be like, oh, that'd be cool. Maybe Miles Davis. I don't know. I do like what they're doing with a couple of these biopics where they're taking a section of the career and they're we're not trying to do his entire life, but they're there's going to be a little bit of background from this. Cause there's flashbacks in this trailer of him, obviously as a child. There's a voiceover by Jeremy Strong, who plays his manager, John Landau, who's an extremely influential manager. And he's talking about it's clear that the studio does not want Bruce to be writing this album. They want the rock star, which he was. And he becomes that again. But during Nebraska, he was I'm going to go to a house by myself and record this album with me and a harmonica and a guitar. And the studio's what? We want anthems, stadium rock. And he's that's not what I'm doing. And so you can tell there's that friction, but they're only looking at this piece of the career, which did you guys see Ferrari last year? Michael Mann directed it.
Yes. I saw it.
Adam Driver. I liked it.
Yes.
I liked it. And it just looks at that race, right? It's a week of his life. You go into it. It's Enzo Ferrari. He's in charge of Ferrari. We're looking at this chunk of his life. I think that's a better way to do these biopics. But at the same time, I'm afraid that we're like getting fatigued here.
You know, I mentioned the whole thing about doing Ozzy. I don't think that would ever happen because I think that the general masses wouldn't be as into that. If I was going to say, hey, we've got to pick rock stars, because that's basically what we're picking. We're picking icons, and rock stars don't really exist the way they used to. The two people that come to mind would be David Bowie and Prince.
See, I think those would be awesome, but how the fuck do you cast those? I mean,
Oh,
did you guys know that there was a Bob Marley movie last year?
Yeah.
It like came in, it was in theaters for like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And just like,
now I just know about it because everyone was buying Bob Marley t-shirts.
I mean, I remember seeing the preview. I'm like, huh, I didn't even know they were making this. And then it was like, when's it available? It's like, it's not really available anymore. I was like, oh shit. Okay. It must not have been that good. So it's like, there's just so much to it where you're like, you have to really, and I think with Springsteen, he's such a iconic personality now in popular culture that like, I mean, he's played the Super Bowl halftime show. Like people know this guy, and Jeremy Allen White needs to really like rock it or it's going to be bad for him. Apparently Springsteen's involved, which is good.
Thankfully Springsteen's still alive.
Yeah,
sometimes they do these biopics and the people aren't around anymore.
Well, I mean, Bob Dylan was still around.
Sure. Elvis.
Go ahead, Mark. Elvis
was called The Boss, right?
Yeah.
That's like what people call him. They call him The
loose
Boss.
Nickname.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Melissa McCarthy's The Boss.
Not to be confused with Tony Danza.
That's right. I don't think he likes this title, this nickname. Like he would never.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
I wish they would have chose a different name.
He's never liked it. He's never used it. It's just something people, because they were like, Elvis is the king. He can't see. So what's like the next step down of like a rock and roll guy? And he was like, I don't
type
like
in
that.
The Boss and Melissa McCarthy's movie comes up. It's crazy. I'm not kidding. That's why I was like, what the hell? What's this movie called?
Well, the thing is, the title of the working title of this movie was Deliver Me From Nowhere, which is a line from the song on the album. They put Springsteen : in front of it, clearly because they were like, people aren't going to know what Deliver Me From Nowhere means. So like, we're already like, are we sure that we're getting like the right, like, this is Bruce Springsteen? I don't know. I think that they did a good job in casting Jeremy Allen White. I mean, the Bear season 4, Mark, is it season 4 that's out? Just came out yesterday.
Season 4, I think.
Yeah. So like they're catching Jeremy Allen White at like, he's cresting the wave of like, you know, notoriety and popularity. So that's a good move, but I don't know.
When does this movie come out?
It comes out in September, I want to say.
I'm not gonna lie, Jeremy Allen White kind of looks like Bruce Springsteen.
He does it. There's some the eye color is a big deal. Yeah, he does. He does, and he's like the same size. He does.
I see it.
The scene of him at the end when he's singing "Born to Run," I was like, oh, that's cool. They're putting "Born to Run" in here, and they dubbed over Bruce singing that. And then I read more about it, and they were like, no, that's Jeremy Allen White singing that. I was like, oh, okay, well, he sounds exactly like Springsteen. So that's good, but I don't know, man. Just don't screw it up.
It'll be a cold day in hell. Joe will never get over it.
Joe's going to be very upset.
I'll
go watch this movie when it comes out.
Yeah,
we'll mention it once it comes out.
Check back
we'll let you know,
and watch the Bear.
Check back
too.
On this one.
Watch the Bear. The Bear's good.